Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So on today's video we're going to be making this concrete bird bath here. So I'll take you through the whole process start to finish. It's a really simple thing to make. It's a great DIY project for anyone really, and you can make yourself a nice little bird bath for practically nothing. So stay tuned, I'll get back to you in a sec and I'll show you what I'm up to. We'll make a start, we'll get cracking. Okay, so I've got everything I need here. So I've got these which I'm going to mould the top with. So these are just drip trays, large drip trays for plants. These are found in the garden centre. So they're quite solid plastic. So the idea is to use that as the main base and place that in there to create the indent where the water will go. And this is what I'm going to be using for the base. This is just a big flower bucket, 10-litre flower bucket. I managed to pick this up in the supermarket. They were getting rid of some of them, but it's sort of like find what you can, what you think will work, what you think will look nice. So the overall look of the bird table will be sort of like that, the bird bath. So that's what I'm using for the moulds. And for the mould release, if you've watched my previous video, you'll remember me using WD-40 because that's what I had to hand, and I thought it would work. It did work, but it's obviously no good for the environment. So this is just plain old vegetable oil. So we rub this on the surfaces, and then it stops the plastic from sticking to the concrete after it's set. So I've got a little tub of veg oil there. I've got some rubber gloves. I prefer to mix it up by hand, especially if I'm doing little batches. It just means you can get all the lumps out, and I just find it easier. You can use a tool, you can get an attachment for a drill, but I just like using my hands. And I've also got a couple of concrete blocks. This was just leftover concrete from various projects. What I tend to do is, rather than waste it, is just pour it into something so that I end up with a nice brick or something, which will come in handy. So when this is filled with concrete, that's on there. I'm going to place at least one of them, maybe might need both of them, and that will just displace a certain amount of the runny cement mix so that it will push down into it. And when you take this off, that'll be where the water will sit on the bird bath. You'll see all that later on anyway. And I've got a spirit level. It's not particularly level in here. I could probably get away with it. It's relatively level, but what I'll probably do is get it all ready in here, get it all done, and then I'll transfer it into my shed because I know the base in there is perfectly level, more or less. So the only other thing I've got is my cement and my sharp sand, and it is definitely sharp sand, by the way. I got a few comments because it's in a soil bag. People were thinking that I was just using soil, and they said it looked quite a lot like soil, but that's just because of the light, and I didn't actually show you it very well. So this is the sand that I'm using. It's definitely sand, not soil. So this is sharp sand. So it contains every type of grain of sand, small tiny little grains, all the way up to little bits of gravel, sort of sized. And I've also got my cement down here. So this is just bog standard multi sort of universal cement, multi-purpose cement, general purpose cement. Not the pre-mixed stuff, because that will contain quite big stones in there as well, and we don't really want them. I have used it before, it does work, but it just looks neater if you've not got any big stones in there. And obviously water to mix it, but we'll get to that anyway. I'll show you all that, and I've got a couple of buckets to make the mixture in. So that's everything that we're going to need. Okay, so I'm going for a mix of 1/3 cement to 2/3 sand. So that means 2 scoops of that, 2 scoops of sand, 1 scoop of cement. So just a standard scoop. The amount you make is quite difficult to judge sometimes. It's always best to make a bit too much, I suppose. That's 2. So that's 9 scoops of sand. So I need 3 scoops of cement. 2, 3. So that looks like that should be plenty. So I'll get that mixed up. I'll just mix this up as it is. Try and do it gently, otherwise you get the dust going everywhere. Okay, so that's all mixed up. And I'm going to start adding water. I probably should have done this in a bigger container. So I'm just going to go with that for now. Mix that, see how that goes. And I'll add some more if I need to. Just going to add a bit more. I've got that pretty well mixed up now. And the consistency, kind of so I can just hold it. I'm making it slightly thicker than I did the first time. But this should be fine. So once it's all mixed up, we're going to pour it into the mould. So first thing we're going to do is put the oil on the mould. So like I said, this is vegetable oil. Probably better off to use some sort of brush, but I ain't got one with me. So I'm just going to smear this on my hand. Only needs a thin layer. Okay, so that's that bit done. And we need to do the same for the inside of this one. I'm just going to pour a bit of oil in there. Right. Once you've got both of them covered in the veg oil, it's time to pour the concrete into the mould. See how that goes for now. We'll just shake it and it'll all settle down and fill in all the gaps. Yes, so you see the air bubbles start coming up. The more you shake it, the more you'll get out. I've seen people use sanders and vibrate the side. You just need to do that for a little while. When you're quite happy that there's no more bubbles coming up. Okay, so we've retreated from the greenhouse because it got too hot. So where were we? I was just removing the air bubbles from this. I think they're pretty much gone now, so a few of them doesn't matter too much. But you want to remove as many as you can. So next thing we're going to do is place this on top here. Try and get it as central as you can. And if you try and push it in at an angle, you won't get any air pockets underneath. So we'll level that off. That's about where we want it. And if you just push it down as far as you think you want your water level to be, giving it a good old knock and stuff will just help settle the cement around it. And remove any air pockets that have formed underneath. What you don't want to do is put it too far down so the bottom ends up too thin. So just spend a bit of time, get it to where you think's good. So I've got a couple of these bricks that I made, like I said. So we'll put that on, it will just help hold it down because it just kind of wants to float back up. Okay, so I'm quite happy that's down far enough to hold enough water for what I would need it for. So now all I will do is leave that alone for at least 24 hours, probably 48 hours. And the next thing is to do the base. So make sure there's nothing in there. Then I'm just going to tip some of this in there and spread it around. Much the same as I did with the top. It doesn't matter so much with this because if I can't get it out, I'll just cut this plastic off. Because it is going to be quite difficult to remove. Because it's got these little indents and stuff in the bottom. But like I said, if it doesn't come off, it doesn't come off. I'll just cut it. And I've been mixed up another batch of concrete, so that's going to be going in. Concrete, if you move it around, it gets more liquid, it's more runny. So you can shake it and it'll come out easier. Hopefully I've made enough. Guys, I haven't quite made enough, but I'm out of sand now, so I'll show you a trick in a minute. That's not really a trick, but something you can do if you haven't quite got enough. Okay, so what you can do, if you haven't quite made up enough, you can put bits of stones in there, any old bits of pottery, broken things, ceramics, stones, gravel. You can basically just chuck it all in there, and not only will it add strength to the concrete, it'll save you wasting cement. So we're still a little bit short. So if I can find something else, I'll put something else in there, but if not, that'll do. So now I'll just do the same thing again. Just keep banging it and tapping it. And you'll see all the air pockets, all the air bubbles start coming up to the top. The more you do that, the smoother it'll be. So that's that. So we'll get back to these 24 to 48 hours and I'll show you the results. While we're here, it's just started raining, but these are two older models that I've made. So this is the square one I showed you in the video. And this is a second winter it's been through now. I did do a square base on this one, just using an old waste paper bin. And people have asked me if I seal the concrete, and no I don't, but as you can see, holds water quite well. And they've been through 2 winters. We got down to minus 10 degrees last year. It was frozen, had snow in it and all sorts, and it survived. It's quite a solid thing. They've even been knocked off. Dogs have jumped on them and knocked them off, and they're still in one piece. They do tend to go a bit green or red from the algae, but you can just spray that off with a hose. And yeah, like I said, they hold water all right. I think because the outside's quite smooth, and I've made sure I've compacted the concrete as much as possible by knocking on it and stuff, helps them to be watertight. Anyway, we'll get back to the other ones in a minute. Okay, everyone, so it's been 48 hours now, and it's time to take these out of these moulds. So we're also going to clean them up a bit with the wire brush, just give them a bit of a scrape to get off any rough edges. So we take these over to the grass or something, and we'll see how they turn out. Okay, so let's try and get these out of the moulds now. Should be quite simple with this one. That one I'm expecting to be quite a pain to get out, so we'll start off with the top. There's that fair few air pockets. I think it's probably because of the way I mixed it, and I didn't really spend too long trying to get them out, so but it doesn't really matter. Right, there's that. That's the top. Turned out okay. Try and get this out. Hopefully, if we're lucky, it'll pop straight out. If not, I'll cut the pot. Ah, that's lucky. There we go. So this was what I was worried about, it getting stuck on these, but it popped straight out, so that's quite good. And obviously this has got a fair few air pockets, but we'll scrape it down as much as we can with a wire brush, give it a clean up. Same with this, although this is quite smooth anyway, so shouldn't need to do much with the base. And once it dries, it will go a bit lighter in colour. So we'll get these cleaned up. Alright, so they're all cleaned up, best as I can get it. So not perfect, we've got a few air bubbles, but should still be fine. I mean, it's not going to affect anything. And the base turned out quite nicely. So I'm just going to let them dry out for a little while, and then I'll get back to you, show you them once they've dried. Okay, so this is the final product right there. I think it turned out very nicely. I actually prefer the circular design to the square design, or the rectangle design. And with the circle base, I think it looks quite good. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know which one's your favourite, this one or the square one. So obviously this will lighten up over the next few days, and it will dry out fully, or cure fully, over the next couple of weeks or so. It's still a bit soft at the moment, so I'm able to scrape off any rough bits. But once it's set fully in the next week or so, it'll be rock hard, like this one here. This was made about 2 to 3 years ago now, and it survived 2 winters, 2 or 3, and like I said before, it holds water perfectly fine without sealing it. But you can seal them if you want. You can get a admixture, which you add to the water when you make your concrete, or you can use some sort of paint on stuff. If I was going to do that, I would prefer to use the admixture. But like I said, I haven't felt a need because they hold water perfectly fine like that. So, I hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. I'm making the DIY bird bath. I'll get back to you in a minute. Okay, everyone. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Hope you found it useful. So, today we made this concrete bird bath here. Just using some plant trays, an old flower bucket, and about £1 worth of cement and sand. So the total cost for this depends if you already had the plant trays like I did. It would be about £1 or two. But if you had to buy them, they were £1 or so each. So you're talking about £5 maximum, and you can make yourself a nice little bird bath. And you can put it out in your garden, and hopefully the birds will come visit, and they'll use your bird bath. So hope you enjoyed today's video. Like I said, if you want to subscribe to me, that would be absolutely brilliant. And any questions, leave a comment down below. I think I've tried to answer all the questions from my previous bird bath video in this video. But if you have any more questions, just leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like the video, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time, guys. Hope you all have a great week. See you later.